to understand polity better, it is important to deeply understand the words that are mentioned in the preamble of Indian Constitution. Let's explore the meaning of sovereignty in this video. There are some basic questions about sovereignty. Sovereignty simply means supreme power. Who holds this supreme power in a state? Whether it rests with a person or a body or the people. What is the extent of sovereignty? Does a sovereign state has uncontrolled power within its territory? If a sovereign state has uncontrolled power and can do almost anything within its territory, then how the United Nations sanctions interventions into some nations now and then? To know the answers for the above, let's dive into the definition and dimensions of sovereignty. Sovereignty means supreme power or authority within a territory. In the same way, a supreme ruler, especially a monarch, is called a sovereign. The words of Jelinek explains the nature and extent of sovereignty. A sovereign state cannot be legally bound except by its own or limited by any power other than itself. For example, India is called a sovereign state because India is neither a dependency nor a dominion of any other nation but an independent state. There is no authority above it. It is free to conduct its own affairs internally and externally without any interference from outsiders. Sovereignty has three dimensions. Number 1, the absoluteness of sovereignty. Number 2, the internal and the external dimensions of sovereignty. Number 3, the holder of sovereignty. Absoluteness of sovereignty. Sovereignty can also be absolute or non-absolute. If it is absolute, a nation can exercise uncontrolled power within its territory unconditionally. At the same time, it is possible for an authority to be sovereign over some matters within a territory but not all. For example, today, many European Union member states exhibit non-absoluteness of sovereignty. They are sovereign in governing defense but not in governing their currencies, trade policies, which they administer in cooperation with European Union authorities as set forth in European Union law. Absolute sovereignty is non-existent in today's world. Today, no nation can claim it as a 100% sovereign body because no one enjoys uncontrolled supreme power in today's world. The world we see today is characterized by interdependence and interconnectedness. Multinational institutions like United Nations, WTO, International Monetary Fund, and International Criminal Court are challenging a nation's sovereign power. For example, under the Articles 39, 40, and 41 mentioned in the Chapter 7 in UN Charter, if the conditions are satisfied and approved by the Security Council, the United Nations can sanction humanitarian intervention into a sovereign state's territory. The International Criminal Court can try cases relating to the following crimes committed by a state even within their territory: genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, crime of aggression. Economic freedom and decisions of a nation is affected and a sovereign state don't have complete economic independence due to the agreements it signed with IMF and WTO. External and internal dimensions of sovereignty. External sovereignty refers to the capacity of the state to act independently and autonomously on the world stage. States having external sovereignty are immune from outside interference in their internal affairs. Internal sovereignty, it deals with the relationship between a sovereign power and its subjects. A state having internal sovereignty has the power to legislate on any subject within its territory. It also means uncontrolled power within its territory. Holder of sovereignty. It is concerned with who holds sovereignty in a state. Throughout history, diverse authorities have held sovereignty. Based on this, we can conclude three types of sovereignty. Number 1, individual. Number 2, public. Number 3, parliamentary sovereignty. Individual sovereignty. During the time of monarchy, sovereign power were held by kings and they acted as the holder of sovereignty. Within their territory, they had the final authority in the affairs of the state. At that time, many thinkers favored the idea of vesting sovereignty in a single individual because it would be indivisible and expressed in a single voice that could claim final authority. An example of internal sovereign who held absolute powers is Louis XIV of France during the 17th century. King Louis XIV of France once said, "I am the state." He held all power in France and claimed to represent God on earth. Louis' abuse of power led to French Revolution that would inspire the call for democratic government throughout the world. He was dethroned later and became the only king of France killed by guillotine for high treason. Public sovereignty. Modern thinkers like Jean-Jacques Rousseau later rejected monarchical rule and supported the concepts like public sovereignty. Public sovereignty is the belief that ultimate authority is vested in the people themselves, expressed in the idea of the general will. This means that the power is elected and supported by its members, and the authority has a central goal of the good of the people in mind. The idea of public sovereignty has often been the basis for modern democratic theory. In many democratic nations of our times, internal sovereignty rests on the principle of public sovereignty. For example, Indian Constitution upholds the principle of public sovereignty. From the words of the preamble, "We the people of India," it is concluded that the source of authority for the Constitution is derived from the people of India. Parliamentary sovereignty. A little different from both individual sovereignty and public sovereignty is the UK Parliament system. Sovereignty in the UK is vested neither in the Crown nor in the people but in the Parliament. The doctrine of parliamentary sovereignty is the fundamental principle of the British Constitution. British Parliament is an all-powerful body and has unlimited powers. A famous British political theorist, Jean-Louis Delhomme, criticized the Parliament once, saying that British Parliament can do everything but make a woman a man and a man a woman. Some thinkers view these enormous powers enjoyed by the British Parliament as elective dictatorship or modern autocracy.